That's very good. But 27 off the bench from him. Luka Garza chipped in with another 8. Walsh and Gonzalez, 5 each, and then Shireman 3. As far as the starters go, Sam Hauser started again tonight, 9 points. Keita had 13 and 13, a double-double. Derek White struggled, 1 for 10 from 3. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, though. Jaylen Brown kind of struggled tonight after his 50-point performance, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. That's not a bad night. But the 6 for 24, 1 for 6 from downtown, But Peyton Pritchard really did well tonight after struggling against L.A. 21 points, 4 or 7 from downtown, 8 for 17 from the field. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. So the Celtics have now passed the New York Knicks. They're in second place. Who thought that? Come on. Nobody thought that. Unless you're a real green teamer. Missoula's talking. If he has anything good to say, we'll read the quotes for you. But why don't we got to pause, Skaz? We'll do a 10-second here, and then we'll pause 10 seconds for station ID, and then we'll come right back and give you a couple of takeaways from tonight's game, and you can certainly call in 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
From the Delaware Tiger Studios, this is Boston's home for sports. Touchdown! The flagship station of the Patriots, Bruins, the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting.
Terry will dribble it across half court. The Boston Celtics go out west, win the last 3 on the trip, blow the Clippers away on the epic masterpiece from Jaylen Brown. They return home and do what needs to be done. They have beaten the Chicago Bulls and the Boston Celtics, who started this year 0-3, 2 games under 500 at 5-7, will wake up Tuesday morning in second place in the Eastern Conference. Another double-digit win. They beat the Bulls. The final, Boston 115, Chicago 101.
Couple of takeaways from tonight's game we'll get to in a minute here. Again, you can call in 617-779-0985. A full hour here, live and local. Live and local. So you're kicking around, driving in the car, and you're like, what's Joe doing tonight? Joe has 3 things on the television. Skaz is in the producer's booth. I have the Celtics postgame on 1 with Missoula talking. I have the FCS National Championship on between Montana State and Illinois. Illinois State trying to make that big comeback there. And then we have Monday Night Raw with a bunch of Stranger Things stuff on there. So that's what I'm doing here, reacting to the Celtics game, and certainly going to get you fired up for Sunday night's football game, Patriots and the Chargers. And the debates about MVP are begun. They have begun. And I'm curious how people feel about that one. Like, here's what I want people to do if we're going to have the conversation. Take Drake May out of it. Like, why does Stafford deserve it? Because if it was me, if I had just a final three guys, it's May, it's Stafford, it's Trevor Lawrence. Those are my 3. Call me crazy, but that's where I'm at. It's unfortunate because the 2 guys are going to take away from each other, but we'll debate that in a little bit. But I wanted to bring up some Celtic stuff I saw over the last couple of weeks. People have been away. I think most of the people that take the holidays off or whatever, I'm not sure how much basketball you've watched, but the Celtics have been really good. And they had a slip up against Portland, but overall, they're playing such better basketball, but they're actually being coached now. And they're running offenses. And when they pass the ball, they set screens. And when they set screens, they go to the block. And then they come up and set a screen for the big guy. And they kind of key on a guy to see if he'll move to the paint to kick it outside. So I think that's why Derek White struggled tonight. He went 1 for 10 from the field, but he was really passing the ball well. So I think when he had open shots, he took them, but he was really unselfish overall. I mean, Jaylen Brown didn't have a big shooting night, but Peyton Pritchard was getting to the basket, and it was Simons off the bench that was lighting it up. But I wanted to just bring up a couple of things here. We hear all the time, Joe Mazzulla can't coach, and Joe Mazzulla, all they do is shoot the three, and I push back on it now. Like, if you haven't been watching, it's ignorance, because it's a lazy take. But they've been a really good two-point shooting team. I mean, I think Pritchard leads the team in two-point field goals, and then it's Jaylen Brown. They do take a lot of threes, but for the most part, it's not as bad as it used to be. But what I'm seeing now is them spreading the floor with a big. Peyton Pritchard will bring the ball up, pass it to the right-hand side, and then set a screen. And while he's down on the block after he sent that screen and they're doing the pick and roll, he's doing a screen, basically a double screen for Neemias Queta, who then drives to the basket, but there's no help defense, so the guy in the corner that's covering Jaylen Brown has to come over and play help, and then Derek White finds so-and-so in the corner and knocks down the three. These are designed basketball plays. These are the plays that I think people have been asking for. It's been the Joe Mazzulla show for about, I'd say, a month. He has been. I've been noticing the 2-on-1s that he was talking about, but it's more about the guys buying into it. And the one guy I could say that's been screening the most, and it's kind of wild, but it's Peyton Pritchard. He brings the ball up, passes it to White. The old days, I think, if you all played basketball, it was when you pass the ball, you cut and set a screen. The Celtics are doing that constantly, and they're catching defenses trying to play the pick and roll, and those screens are screening two people. Therefore, the people that are out in the corner have to come in and help, and they find the open guy, and that's why they shoot the three. So there's been a lot of that with Joe Mazzulla of late. And I think when the team was so good at times to even call plays, like the guys are so athletic, they get the matchups, they take the shots they want, or they're open so it's uncontested and they take the shot. So really where I'm going with this is I think Joe Mazzulla is now coaching. I think he's now running the offense, which is really opening things up for Jaylen Brown. And I think when Jason Tatum was in, it was more focused around Tatum or Horford running through the post. Now they're running it through the point, but it's the post that's doing the screening for the pick and roll, and it's a guard that comes up and does the back screen. And that's where they're getting the 2-on-1 chances. I saw it again tonight. It stood out in that Clippers game, though. And I hate to bore you with X's and Joes, but this is where we're at right now. Joe Mazzulla. It's not the Mazzulla ball you think it is. It's looking for the 2-on-1 matchup based off a pick and roll or a screen. And that's what it is. And we're seeing that as far as an offense goes. And I know it's not the sexiest thing to talk about on the radio, but I just want to be accurate since maybe some people haven't been tuned into the Celtics of late. They're playing team basketball. They have a rotation that's working. Like Luka Garza is contributing so well on the boards that when he plays defense, he always has help. Always has help. And Neemias Queta is doing all the dirty work for the guards that when he's getting the back screens, he's going with the back screen into the basket. But if somebody comes over to help, it opens up someone. And it's really easy. Like you put two guards at the top and you look for the screen. Someone passes the ball, you cut, you set the screen. They didn't do that against Portland. They thought they could show up and just beat them that night, and they didn't. So the biggest change I have seen in the Boston Celtics in about a month is they're running plays on offense. Now, it works out that it's Jaylen Brown that's been open a lot. And I'll just give you a scenario, but Kawhi Leonard the other night. Kawhi's covering Jaylen Brown in the corner. And Derek White's got the ball. Queta's trying to set a screen. And they're looking for the pick and roll. Here comes Peyton Pritchard off a screen, back screen. Queta goes to the basket. Kawhi Leonard's got to help over in the middle. Jaylen Brown's wide open on the outside. Boom, three. Now, it's probably not the most ideal shot for Jaylen Brown, but it was uncontested. He took it, and he nailed it. It's the same thing that happens with Sam Hauser in the corner. It's the same thing that happens when Derek White passes it. They look inside, and when they look from inside back to him, they're working on the 2-on-1 situations off back screens and pick and roll. Something that I don't think we saw with last year's team because it was so skilled. Now they're not as skilled. Now they can't just show up and beat anybody. And the best part for the Celtics is that they have multiple guys that can handle the basketball. And when you have guards that can handle the ball, screen, and cut, this is what you're seeing now. You're seeing games where you have guys with multiple wide open shots, 8 threes. You're getting guys with multiple assists, right? 8, 7 different guys. There's a lot of them there. But the biggest thing is it makes your bench better. You can have guys that come in, know their role, know they have to set screens and a rebound. Now, this is not a shot at Josh Minott when I say this, or even Jordan Walsh for that matter, but when Sam Hauser's in the game to start, it opens up the floor a little bit for them to be able to do that, to knock down shots and get early leads. And it happened again tonight. And I think it helps Jordan Walsh to come off the bench, see what's going on, contribute his 5 points or so. The same thing with Ugo Gonzalez. Contributes to 5. What do you have for rebounds tonight? Because Ugo, I know, was everywhere on the boards tonight. He had 7. He had 6 in the first half. But a 5.7 rebound, 1 assist night for Ugo is good off the bench in 12 minutes. Like Jordan Walsh got off 4 shots tonight, went 2 for 4, hit a 3, had 5 points and 5 rebounds. Like, I think that's consistent for him. He can be better than that, but that's good. And again, Garza, 8 points, 4 rebounds, and a steal and 2 blocks. The bench has been contributing. The bench has been carrying the team at times. And tonight it was Anthony Simons with 27 points, 9 of 16, but he was the guard when Derek White was struggling tonight. So when White was struggling, they went to Simons with the pick and roll, back screen, wide open for those threes. They created those opportunities tonight for Simons. It wasn't Simons with the ball trying to dribble somebody and wait for the 3. These were actual plays that were called to find a 2-on-1 back screen pick and roll. And the guys that were screening were Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Sam Hauser. Like, those are the guys that were screening tonight. And it just happened that Simons was the guy getting open and knocked down his threes. So I do want to commend Joe Mazzulla for the scheme. When you have guys like, Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis along with Tatum and Brown and whoever, Al Horford for that matter, you try to run things through your big men, right? Because you have so many good outside shooters or guys that can penetrate to the basket. Now, it's coming from their guards because their guards are smart. Their guards key on a guy who, if he stays home or goes into the paint, they know where to go with the basketball. They're not just this team that comes down and chucks up threes. And they're not that team anymore. They are built better in running these plays to help Jaylen Brown. Where I'll give Jaylen Brown credit is he's not missing shots near the elbow. Anything around the foul line, he is knocking shots down. And a lot of them are jump shots. But I do think it's going to be a different night. You're going to see White, Pritchard, or Brown go off. And tonight it just happened to be White struggled, and Anthony Simons went off for 27. But I just wanted to give the shout-out to Mazzulla because I think the team's believing in this philosophy. I think they're seeing that they're such good ball handlers, which I almost questioned this year if they had great ball handlers. They do. But when they get Keita at the top, and Keita's setting a screen and there's a back screen coming and he goes to the basket, all you got to do is key on the guy that's in the corner. And if he comes over to help, you kick it out. And if that guy fakes the shot, he can dribble and take it right to the basket. It's pretty easy basketball. It's stuff that I learned in CYO back in the day. But when you don't have the skill and you don't have the size inside, the pick and rolls, the cuts, running without the basketball is the way I would say. Moving without the ball, the Celtics are absolutely doing that. It's showing. Skaz, I know I just did some X's and Joes there, but I can't help but unsee it. Like, I'm watching a basketball team that might not have the talent of the other team, or the size, really. And they're screening, right? Double screen. Sometimes I see a triple screen at times. There are 3-on-1 situations with the Celtics ball handlers. Look at all 3 guys and just wait for someone to come over to help, and they just kick it out. I've been truly impressed. This is Mazzulla time. This is the time for him.
It's your NBA Coach of the Month in the month of December.
That's right. But I'm seeing it, and I got a real good look at it. I stayed up late on Saturday to watch that Clippers game. The Clippers had no ball handlers. the Celtics would just keep two guys at the at the top of the key, and besides James Harden, nobody could drive to the hoop. And again, they destroyed Kawhi because he wanted to cover Jaylen Brown. Every time there was a back screen and Keita would go to the basket or Garza would go to the basket, he would leave to play help defense in the middle and leave somebody wide open on the outside, and Jaylen Brown had a field day. So even if Brown got it in the corner, he'd up fake it and take it to the foul line and shoot it. It's just, I think these are the 2-on-1 matchups that Joe Mazzulla was talking about. I think this is where we're now starting to see that style of basketball.
Yeah, I think it's been a tremendous run, for the Celtics, for Joe Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown, just them as a whole. Really since the start of December, they've been a different basketball team. 11-5 at home, a place I don't want to say they struggled, but they needed a little bit of home cooking after the early part of the season, I thought, and. They go out on the road 4-1. They lose that horrible game in Portland. And Saturday, you mentioned the Mazzulla thing. Saturday, they started Sam Hauser, something they haven't done since early in the season. Jordan Walsh, I don't want to say he got benched. He still played a decent amount of minutes in that game, and he had 13 rebounds the other night. But they go to Hauser, and they say it's because we want to get out to an early lead. Hauser hit some threes early in the first. They jump out to that lead and really never looked back. That's just a little thing. But something else that stood out to me, too, you focus a ton on the offense. Kind of a trap game tonight, and I know we use that term probably a little too loosely, but first game back after a road trip at home, sometimes that's a letdown spot for teams. Not only did the Celtics score 31 in the first quarter, but they held Chicago to 14 points and 19 points in the first two quarters. So under 40 points at halftime, that's a different Celtics team than we're used to seeing. Obviously, the second half, not so much. They kind of just said, we built up such a lead. We're not as interested in playing defense. 30-plus quarters, the third and fourth for the Bulls. So don't love that, but I thought the way they came out tonight and kind of took care of business early was impressive to me, and that's who they've been. They've taken care of business. Like you said, I think Mazzulla deserves a ton of credit. He's done a phenomenal job. I don't know how he's not been listed in the Coach of the Year. I saw Greeny, a friend of the show, Barstool Greeny, quote tweeting, replying to all of the above to some articles that had, Mazzulla wasn't even listed as Coach of the Year. And I think that's a little crazy. I don't know if I'd give it to him right now, but he absolutely deserves to be in the conversation. And yeah, Jaylen Brown certainly should be in the MVP conversation. I wouldn't quite, give him the award or anything, but no right for him not to be there. And yeah, you mentioned Anthony Simons, 0 points in the first half tonight, 27 in the second half. It's just, that's what they do. Derek White couldn't hit.
It was White. White was struggling.
He couldn't hit a three to save his life.
So they made the focus. That's what I mean. There's a team out there, Skaz, that I think might be like, can we scheme a way for Simons to have a 20-point half? And what have you heard on that? I heard recently that teams aren't biting on Simons right now.
The money. It's the money it's $27.5 million, $28 million. It's a lot of money. So they're kind of balking at that. Zubac getting hurt, I don't think helped that. He was one of the targets. And obviously you could still go out and get him even though he's banged up. But if they're going to move Simons, which I don't know, I'd like to hear from some Celtics fans and see where they are at Simons. I think going into the season, he was a guy we viewed, certainly it felt like most of Celtics fans viewed as trade him, get whatever you can at the deadline. But you're telling me he wouldn't fit as a bench piece on a team with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, some instant offense? Like, he certainly seems to have found a role. He's a three-point shooter. Like, I'm not saying they got to, sign him long-term or anything like that, but I think he's shown you his value, and you hope the rest of the league. And I don't know. They would have to at least, put one first, maybe even two first into a deal to move him, I think, for a legit player.
So I know a lot of talk's going to be when Jason Tatum comes back. Do you think they'll keep playing like this? Like, do you think they'll keep playing with, like, do you think it will be Tatum at the top of the key, dribbling, looking for someone to get open off a screen? Because when they had a lot of talent, they could do that.
I think Tatum is going to be more of a mid-range to low-post player when he comes back. I think he'll still shoot threes and he'll work his way back into that, kind of his stretch four role that he kind of carved out for himself and kind of made that. He was playing, 1 through 5 basically for the Celtics, but I don't know if I think we agree on this, that he's going to be more of a closer to the basket player when he comes back, at least initially.
Well, I just think that if he's the guy, trying to get into the pick and roll situations, it could be lethal. Like him could beat anybody or double team. I just like how they're moving and not standing there in the corner watching. I just can't watch that type of basketball. And that's why I'm impressed with what's going on. You're watching guards back screen that are small. It's just something that this group hasn't done. And I can't help but look ahead. I just can't help but look ahead when it comes to this team. All right, your thoughts at 617-779-0985. We'll knock out a couple of calls because I know some people are on. Jason's in Derry. What's up, Jason?
What's up, guys? Initially, I had some Patriots stuff. You guys have been on the Celtics. I agree with you guys. Missoula does need some props. He's definitely, even recently, like I said, the offensive sets are different. Everybody's moving. Ever since, Jalen said his piece, and the team's been stepping up. Like, Jalen's taking his game inside the three-point arc, which is awesome. He can hunt in there. I agree with Skaz. Like, Simmons is carving out a role. I want to know why Missoula couldn't find time for him early in the season. Right now, I think Jaylen Brown's 5th in MVP. And, Missoula should be getting some love, too. And I agree with you guys, too. When Tatum comes back, he's got to fit into this roster. Because that's how they're playing, because that's how the roster's set.
Yeah, and Jason, I appreciate you, buddy. I did hear on the Ringer, Celtics podcast, that there's a consideration of Jason Tatum potentially coming off the bench. Everyone has laughed at me. And just so you guys know, I'm not the one who came up with the take. I'm the one asking the question. So every time I ask the question, I get shut down. I think in a perfect world, Tatum, Kata are your bigs. And White, Pritchard, Brown will be your wings. I still think that they're not as strong, but I'd rather Tatum than Hauser. I'd rather Tatum than Walsh. So I think in a perfect world that's your starting 5 with Hauser, Simons. You're now 7 deep there. And I think the rest of the way is probably Garza as your other big and Jordan Walsh as your other stretch. And I think you put Hugo Gonzalez in if you need some guy to run around and with his head cut off. Hey, go cover this guy. Go cover that guy. But that's what. They were 10 deep tonight. Garza, Simons, Walsh, Gonzalez, and then Shireman's kind of the 9th or 10th man now. But Minot, I don't think is playing because he doesn't screen. And he's uber ability. But because I think when he passes the ball, he doesn't cut, doesn't screen. And I think that's what they need. It's been a long time, probably since Brad Stevens' second or third year, that they are actually looking for open shots, meaning pick and roll. Sometimes you'll have 2 guys on the block come up for the double screen. But the way that Brown is shooting around the foul line and White, Pritchard, Simons on the outside, Hauser's a corner 3 guy. I'm just curious how Tatum's going to fit into all this. That's all. But to Skaz's point, I think he should consider that 4 spot, which he's always played, but being more of a rebound, score around the basket guy. I know he can play the pick and roll better than anybody. Just wondering if he's going to be screening and everything to that degree. And I think I'd rather him with the ball, but they have plenty of ball handlers. Josh is in the car. Josh.
Hey, guys. Hey, so, Joe, you just kind of what I was going to talk about. When Tatum comes back, because obviously, and let's assume he comes back this year, right, which it's signs point that he is, he's a ball-dominant guy. So what does that do for the offense? Does that elevate the offense, right? Because now you have a dynamic pick-and-roll guy or a back screener or somebody, again, who can do a lot more things with the ball, or does that clog up the offense? And just to my second point about Simons, it's very rare in today's NBA. He's a guy that can be a starter, that can come off the bench, but he's like a heat check guy, right? He can give you 25 or 30 on a night like tonight, and that's pretty rare in the NBA. So everybody that's saying, well, we should trade him, we should get rid of him, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like, especially when you get to the playoffs, if Derek White has an off night, if Peyton Pritchard has an off night, if Jaylen Brown has an off night, it's very rare to find a guy like a Simons in the league who can get as hot as he does. So I'm more interested to know what you guys think about the Tatum thing, because I just think that's an interesting dynamic moving forward. And, again, does that clog up their offense, or does it make them more dangerous offensively? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I want to know what you guys thought.
I think it does make them more dangerous, because if Tatum gets the ball in the post, he's not going to have his back to the basket. He's going to be squared up trying to dribble past the guy, and if he gets past that guy, he can always pass out of it. Tatum was one of the best passers. The point on Simons is right. There are times where I wonder if Pritchard off the bench would be good too, and Simons starts. There's a lot there. But I think between White, Simons, and Pritchard, they need one of those guys to contribute 15 or more a night. Because if you're going to get the 20 from Tatum and Brown, I mean, think about this, right? Between Pritchard and White, when they score 31 or more combined, those two, they generally win the game. What'd they do tonight? I'm actually going to look that up right now. So tonight, they won handedly. Pritchard had 30. No. Pritchard had 21. Brown 31. Guys, 31. Literally the number, and this is without Jason Tatum, but the number for secondary scoring outside of Brown, it's got to be 31. Well, they got 27 from Simons and 14 from Brown. But that's what it is. Like when again, the caller's right. White struggled tonight. They went to Simons for microwave offense because he had it. The other thing with Simons is they probably do have to move him because they'll pay a tax, I believe. I think it was always discussed that Simons probably is on the move because they can save money. That's what this whole season was about, to get under the luxury taxes, be competitive without Tatum, and when Tatum comes back, make a run. I just think they're still over I think they're over the first luxury tax still, right? Trading Simons will help you. Problem is, do you want to give up a first-round pick to do so? And if they keep him, they just pay the tax and they lose his money next year, right, guys? That's it? It becomes like does it become a 27-point slot because of because that's the whole thing. If you're over a tax, you lose like a part of your, it gets confusing from there. I think they're going to move him. And if it's not him, I don't know who they would move. The only guy I can think of is, I don't think Walsh helps, right? What's he make, $4.5 million? Hauser's another guy. Speaking of that, on the other side here, where's Trae Young going? We're going to that coming up next. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. 98.5.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Celtics win tonight. Tomorrow night, we'll have a semi-full show. 6 to 9:30, and then the Bruins play on the West Coast. So it's the final West Coast game. So we'll be here 6 to 9:30, then we'll hand things off to RJ and Beers. We'll do a little in or out tomorrow. I got a musings for you, guys. It's... Well, I might always have multiple musings.
It's a big market tease right there.
Yeah, multiple musings. And then I'll see who's around that wants to call in. Maybe we'll do a Patriots-Chargers preview. Let me just throw a scenario at you. Trae Young is available. If the people are, how people call in, hey, how do you get Trae Young?
No.
Well, can I tell you how they'll do it?
Please.
Simons, Hauser, Pritchard. Multiple first-round picks for Trae Young. Get you under the first tax. You get another all-star point guard. See, the reason why I hate the deal is because I think Pritchard has, the best contract in the league.
Would you like to guess at what Trae Young will be making in the 25-26 season?
This was a brief conversation. I believe Jay Stu also stirred this one up. That's why I put that in there. So if it's 27, 10's 37, plus 7's 44, I'm going to guess $45 million.
Yes, that would be $46 million.
So the money matches, but you got to give up multiple first-round picks.
Yeah, I'm out on that. Trae Young isn't.
I would move Simons and Hauser, but you have to go Pritchard. And then you have to give up probably 3 first-round picks, some protected.
It's not worth it. Trae Young is not that player. And I'm not one of these people that, Trae Young is a limited, second-tier player in the league.
He's an elite passer, though.
Leads the league in assists almost, every year. Can score. We've seen him do it in the playoffs, but he is limited at his size. He just is. So, no, he is not a player that I would be interested in at all, really.
He's probably a product of Atlanta, too. He's the main guy, shoots the hell out of the ball. He's erratic as hell. He's had some pretty strong games, though. So, where does Trae Young go, then? So, we're out. I'm not necessarily out on Trae Young, the player. I'm out
on him on the Celtics.
Yes, me too.
Where will Trae Young go? If I had 2 guesses, it would be Washington or Toronto. Those would be my 2 guesses.
Why Washington? All those dump salaries?
They just have money, picks, assets. They need to do something. They need to get somebody in that organization that can do anything, really. They name me a Washington Wizard, Joe.
Chris Middleton.
There you go. Yep, that's part of the problem. You can't have Chris Middleton. Smart? Who knows where Marcus Smart is these days? Spin the wheel. But yes, Trey Johnson is in Washington. I'm sure fans are very familiar with him. But yes, they need to get anybody in Washington.
Well, let's look up the salary cap. Now I need to know who's on the team. All right, Chris Middleton. CJ McCollum's still going.
Yes, yeah.
He makes $30 million.
Island of Misfit Toys down in D.C. there.
They wouldn't give up Alex Sarr, would they? Or
not for sure. I mean, Atlanta has Reece Shea. I mean, it's another big stiff.
Jeez, they're a young, bad roster.
I think Bub Carrington might be there. I know Trey Johnson's
Corey
there.
Kispert.
Yeah, he can shoot. That's about it. Trey Johnson's a decent player.
Bilal Coulibaly.
Yeah, Coulibaly.
Wonder if Street Team Joe knows any of these guys. He's a card guy, though. He does know. Oh, Justin Champagne is there. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Former Celtic.
He played for the Celtics. God, they suck, huh? Oh, not Marcus good. Smart is on the books.
Oh, there you go. Old friend Marcus Smart.
Dylan Jones and Blake Wesley. But Smart's on the Lakers. I apologize. But he's still on their books.
On the books.
He's only played 24 games this year. Well, there you go. So we're out on Trae Young. We're Toronto. What were they? Well, Toronto's been looking for a point guard since
Van Vliet left.
Van Vliet, yeah.
I thought Norm Powell would have. I don't know. Emmanuel quickly hasn't been. He's just not a consistent player. But the Clippers is certainly a team that could have used Norm Powell tonight. Or I'm sorry, on Saturday.
Is there a mystery team?
Oh, Joe, there's always a mystery team. Always. Like Milwaukee or something. Kyrie and San Antonio. Do they want to put him with Wemby?
So the reason why I'm thinking of Dallas for some reason is Anthony Davis. I don't know why. I just feel like the money. But Davis for Young would be a bad trade. Hey, do you think he's getting moved, Anthony Davis?
I would lean no.
I think New York would do it. The Knicks.
You're third place, New York Knicks. It's kind of a tough look when you fire Tom Thibodeau. You're in win now mode, and you're in third place behind the gap year Celtics, basically. It's got to be somewhat frustrating if you're a New York Knicks fan.
See, my thing with I still think Anthony Davis in a winning situation.
You got an AD thing. You got a thing for him.
I don't.
No, you do, Joe.
I got to tell you right now.
You got a big man problem.
I do have a big man problem. That's definitely right. But I would just like to let you know the show that I worked on in the morning for years.
Oh, big Anthony Davis.
We'd have a random discussion about basketball, and Anthony Davis's name would pop up. My thing is, I'm thinking of big names like Giannis. He's hurt, so you can't move him, right? But who are the names, I guess, that could be... I mean, it's a month away, dude, the trade deadline.
February 5th. I think it's literally a month away. Yeah, something like that.
Right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis is probably the biggest name available. Trae Young's available. I think if Giannis is back, he's available. Is LeBron available?
Depends on who you ask.
He sucks. He's bad now, huh? Is he just thinking about golf all the time?
This is something I've been... Yeah, I've got a new simulator in this house, Joe. Did you hear?
Yeah.
This is something that I've seen the tide start to shift just a little bit on. The Luka defense thing, now that it's out in L.A. and the Lakers aren't, piling up wins. I've started to see, it's slipping in the cracks of NBA. The national talking heads that Luka's defense is a glaring issue, and it's not something you can hide forever.
I read this was from where I saw this today, but Celtics would they need to lower their payroll by $12 million to get under the tax. So that's Hauser and someone, right? Hauser and whatever. But Simons alone will do it. Is Michael Porter Jr. a name?
He seems to be one of the big targets.
What about LaMelo Ball?
Yeah. Talented player, doesn't play defense. Not sure who's going to trade for him.
Did you hear them talking about Vucevic's numbers tonight?
Yeah, Grandy he sounded like he was petitioning for him for the Hall of Fame tonight.
And then Max was like, hey, these are a little inflated. I mean, they're great numbers. I don't want to take anything away from the guy.
Solid NBA pro, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
35 makes $21 million, which isn't bad in the league.
Who's more of a Hall of Famer, Joe? Dennis Schroeder or Nikola Vucevic?
Vucevic. Oh, yeah, remember that call the other night?
Yeah, I was working that show, yes.
Oh, my God.
Dennis Schroeder might get into the Hall of Fame. That's the thing. That's why that call wasn't that crazy, which is a conversation for another day.
Yeah, and then we'll see Denver coming up without...
No Jokic. Get Wemby on Saturday night, though.
Oh, yeah. In Boston,
8 p.m.
I saw that. I looked into tickets for that one.
A little Wemby action.
Unfortunately, I have multiple events and then the Patriots game this weekend. Wemby in town? I wonder if he'll sign cards at Card Vault. No, right? He's a card guy, though.
I think you gotta, I don't know. I almost hope. I love our friends over there, but Wemby has this thing where he's like so locked in right now. I almost kind of hope he doesn't. Yeah. I like the mystique around Wemby.
Me too. I watched Utah the other night against the Celtics. Danny Ainge got himself a nice little...
Keontae George can play, huh?
They're they're not a team.
Not yet. No, he's
Like,
got some pieces though.
That's what I'm saying. When you watch them, you're like, hey, this guy's not bad.
Deontay George is legit.
Marketing,
Yeah,
doing
solid
all right,
players in Chicago for a bit. Yeah,
he's okay. But yeah, watching the West Coast teams this week, I got a different look at basketball, and the Celtics changed their style. They really did.
I don't know if you caught any of it, but the Clippers broadcast was effusive in their praise of the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla, talking about just what you're talking about, how they just play basketball. They're out there running like it sounds crazy, but just the way they 8-9 guys on the roster every night, knowing exactly what they need to do.
I'm just spitballing here, but Houston could use a point guard. I don't know how the hell they'd get Trae Young. No, they can't. There's no one. The money. I'm just trying to think of another team. Brooklyn? I mean, who's got money? All right, let's go to the headline. We'll get out of here. Then we'll wrap things up. A little Patriots-Chargers preview next.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Celtics win tonight 115-110, led by Anthony Simons' is 27 points. Peyton Pritchard at 21. Paul Pierce is advocating to play again. He says, I can get you 6 points, 1 rebound, in 22 minutes in the league. Who's he taking a shot at? Celtics went 8-1 during a stretch. Hey, 8-1. I did say 9-0. I'll take 8-1. Anyways, Patriots-Chargers this week. My initial take on the game is you play at home, you win. West Coast team to the East Coast, you should win that game. After saying that, I still feel as though there's this Justin Herbert redemption game. I don't know if it's this year. He can't be this bad in the playoffs. He can't be this bad. And I just feel like at some point he's going to have that game. Now, can he do it against the Patriots? And, I do think Carlton Davis, I think he's been solid. Are there times where he's picked on and gets beat on third downs like he did this week? Absolutely. I think he's been so solid over there, though.